Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's go straight into this conversation now as Bafana Bafana will face less favoured neighbours Lesotho in a 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier in Polokwane this evening. Ranked 92 places higher than their opponents, Bafana do go into the match as overwhelming favourites, with coach Hugo Broos expecting nothing less than a win from his charges. This in their quest to secure World Cup qualification for the first time since 2010. Soccer journalist Delmain Faver joins me in studio now to look ahead to the highly anticipated clash. And perhaps, Delmain, a very good morning to you. As I say good morning, we're going to start with the clash that we saw yesterday, because we did see, of course, Zimbabwe taking on Benin, which means there's a change at the top of the standings in Group C. How important is this as you look at the complexion of the group in its entirety as Bafana Bafana are prepared to host Lesotho this evening?
Thank you so much for having me, Andy. Look, I watched the match yesterday and it was quite a tough match. I think it speaks to the complexities in the group to say that Zimbabwe are last, even though they haven't really lost much, but they are last, and then Benin goes top of the group. But if you had watched the match, you would never say that it was last versus the top team in the group. So it says that every game in the qualifiers is crucial, every game is tough, and I think Bafana Bafana can expect no less when they take on Lesotho. Yes, overwhelming favourites, yes, expected to win on paper, better team. Everything stands in our favour, but if you look at what is happening in the group, if you look at some of our previous games, you see that it's easier said than done when it does come to actually winning the games, but there is a silent confidence that Hugo Broos' men can get the job done.
Yeah, let's talk about our neighbours just briefly then. Should Zimbabwe give up in terms of their hopes of qualification, because it was dubbed as somewhat of a must-win for them, only able to come away with a draw in that one. And as you mentioned, it's a group that's quite tight, and results then could change the complexion of things.
To say they should throw in the towel, I don't think so, because there's still 5 matches for them to go. It's 15 points to play for. They're there, and it seems like a big gap because they're at the bottom. But truth be told is that only 4 points behind us, you know, and anything can happen. We say it so much in football, that if we don't turn our favorite tags into actual victories, then it opens it up for the likes of Zimbabwe, for Nigeria also, who also find themselves in a similar situation. So I think they it's not them throwing in the towel. I just think that they remain hopeful. Like I'm saying, 15 points still to play for. It's a lot of points. It could take them, to 18, possibly, if they win all of their games. And who knows, they could end up close to the top.
It's been a less than impressive performance from the Super Eagles as well. If you're looking at their qualification campaign, what do you think they'll need to do in the matches that they're playing in this round to make sure that they keep up with the leading pack as well?
I think every game for them is a must-win. We say it so much, and I think also what they've done is that because they've been so good, so consistently for so many years, other countries have now kind of caught up, and feels like Nigeria have lost the respectability, I would say, because once that fear factor goes from other teams, you look at it and you say that this is a Nigeria that we can take points off of. And I think once they get to assert that dominance again, where they say that we win the match even before a ball is kicked, that would bode well for them. But at the moment, they're there for the taking. Similar situation to Zimbabwe, where now they have to start winning games if they are to stand any chance of qualifying.
Okay, well, that's the bottom, of course, Zimbabwe and Nigeria. Let's talk about the top then. We've spoken about the changes to the top as Benin now go above Rwanda and South Africa. What did you make of the 23-man squad that Hugo Broos has announced? A lot of conversation around it, the debutants coming into the side, Percy Tau's return, and of course, the injury to Patrick Maswanganyi that forced a change in the latter stages. What do you make of the 23 then that we left with?
If we have to be honest, I'd say that this is the best 23 players South Africa has available at the moment. Of course, a lot of people have their own opinions about who should be in, who shouldn't be in. But if you look at what's happening now, we see that this is the best 23 players. The other day was Pirates and Sundowns playing against each other. The bulk of those players are in the Bafana squad. Of course, Aubrey Mudiba not there. Patrick Maswanganyi, as you rightfully stated, but we have replaced them with Litlapa and Mapangule, which are suitable replacements. But I think to have a fit squad, to have boys that are on form. You look at some of them, Lyle Foster scoring in England, Percy Tau is doing quite well in Qatar. We have our local boys, Mufokeng, Reyners, all of them. Everyone is on song, which is important because we need all of our best players firing. So I think fair squad, our best possible squad, and definitely a squad who can get the job done.
You mentioned it as a best possible squad. There were a number of comments around who should have been included in the squad, and you mentioned that Hugo Broos having very strong words and saying, I make the final call, I pick the players, you don't tell me who to pick. Who do you think he was addressing in that statement?
Sure. You can imagine that there's no Kaizer Chiefs player. Let's start there. There's no player from Kaizer Chiefs in the squad, which again raises eyebrows because a lot of people would feel like Thabo Cele should be there.
Bruce Vuma.
Bruce Vuma. So understandably there are questions, and there always will be. You can imagine what the squad would look like if everyone, Andy, this one, that one, is asking for their players to be included. But the truth of the matter is, you look at it consistently, who's there, who can do the job for us, who has done the job for us. And unfortunately, and I'm also glad that Hugo Broos has said that, to say that there's no outer influence in who I choose. I choose who I choose, and we have to make peace with that.
So you're saying you think he was addressing Kaizer Chiefs?
They're fans. Because it doesn't come from the coaches so much. Coach Nabi was saying he respects the decision of the national team and of the national team coach, and he's not someone who will speak about it. But if the players do perform, they should be called. But the coach has stated that the performances haven't been there consistently enough for him to say, we are taking out our regulars, people who perform consistently when called upon, to bring in new players, but these are players that he continues to monitor.
Let's talk tactics then ahead of this clash against Lesotho. What do you think Chargers are going to have to get right here if we are to get 4 points? Because the tag is weighing heavily on South Africa. They come in as the favourites. Lesotho perhaps not too much to prove for them, although they have done it if you're looking at the likes of the Super Eagles and the results that they've been able to churn out. What do you think Hugo Broos Chargers are going to have to get right here to get a convincing result in this game?
The ultimate thing is for us to put the ball in the back of the net. I was looking at Lesotho's previous results. I think in December they shipped in 7 goals against Morocco, which means they do have a leaky defense. Sometimes our Achilles heel is playing very good football, enterprising football. There's no doubt about that. The important thing is, though, to convert the chances created. We create so many chances. We have some of the best creative players around. But if we aren't scoring, if we aren't putting it away, then it's of no use. So we're going to need our best players. I'm speaking about the Ikram Reyners. I'm speaking about the Percy Taus. I'm speaking about the Lyle Fosters to, on the day, raise their hands and put the ball in the back of the net. We have a very solid defense, 11 matches undefeated. Speaks to how good we have been. But it's important that on the day we score the goals. We know there's a lot of hope, pride in South Africa, and we need to maintain that by scoring goals and winning games.
And psychologically then, what do you think that does with the players? Because Hugo Broos has come out and said, if we lose this game, it would be embarrassing. The whole country is expecting them to come up with a victory here and all 3 points in this particular game. Psychologically, does this put additional pressure on the players, knowing that, yes, it is a side that you could easily defeat, but in this particular instance, people are expecting you to do it quite easily?
If you asked me this question about 4 years ago, I would have said to you, yes, it's a concern psychologically, because we know that we have a tendency of when we play teams that we're supposed to beat, we don't necessarily do that. However, it has now changed. The mentality has now changed to a point where if we are better than you, we'll show you on the field. And a lot of that comes from Mamelodi Sundowns' exploits on the continent, Orlando Pirates now, where they take those games serious, even so-called must-win games or games that you're supposed to win. Those games in the past used to be a banana peel for us, but now we see them actually going out, winning those games, showing their dominance, flexing their muscle, which is so important. And I think, yes, we're supposed to win, and I also think that there's a definite confidence that we can and we should win.
As we wrap things up then, should we be concerned in terms of our goalkeeping department? Yes, Ronwen Williams has been the trusted #1 goalkeeper, but we have seen in recent times that perhaps looking for a replacement or someone that can slot in, it's been a concern. Questions around it. Andre Arendse speaking out about the lack of locally brewed talent in that department. Is this something that we should be concerned about at this stage?
for now, in this present moment, I'm speaking in the next probably 2 to 3 years, we covered, right? We look at Ranwin, hardly gets injured. Sipo Chine, sufficient cover. We have quality in Sage Stevens, of Stellenbosch, Bruce Pavuma. We have Brandon Peterson. We have a lot of good goalkeepers. The concern, though, is that in the PSL, we don't have any young goalkeeper under the age of 25 that is performing consistently well. And also we have the influx of foreign goalkeepers, which if you look at it, at 9 of our 16 teams, we have foreign goalkeepers, which of course it raises, and I spoke to Tumelen Kune the other day, and he said, how come we don't we take the same approach as Egypt, where we make a rule to say that in terms of goalkeeping, only local goalkeepers should then be allowed to play for local teams. In so doing, then producing better talent, local talent, to then go on and represent Bafana Bafana. Because yes, in the moment, we're doing well and it's okay, we covered, but long term, do we have sufficient cover? Do we have another Ronwen Williams in waiting? I think that is a concern, although for now, it seems fine. We're quite comfortable in that position, and I think we have the best goalkeeper in Africa. So the hope is that somewhere, somehow, they are cooking. We need one that is being brewed and prepared, that could possibly for the next 10 years step up and wear the #1 jersey for the country.
Well, we're certainly going to be hoping that will be the case. But the first order of business is, of course, getting all 3 points against Lesotho this evening. That's Delmain Faver, of course, a soccer journalist, just giving us a quick preview of what we can expect as Bafana take on Lesotho.